Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and every week we do a segment called Black, White, and Politically Incorrect. I'm here with my very good friend, Miss Susan Patton, aka the Princeton Mom. How you doing today, Susan?
I'm doing excellent, boys.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. Now, it looks like your hero Donald Trump got trumped in Wisconsin. What's going on? I thought the Trump train wasn't slowing down.
Well, first of all, not my hero. I never said he was my hero. But yeah, he got beaten badly last night. He got beaten badly by a Princeton man because Princeton always wins. Come on, get with it.
Not always. Not always.
Well, no, not always.
He's
But no,
lost. He's lost plenty of primaries now.
he got, but he's won a whole lot more than he's lost. He's won. Do you mean Cruz or do you mean Trump? I know you hate them both.
I mean Trump. I mean, sorry, Cruz. You're Princeton guy.
My Princeton guy has lost plenty of primaries, but he's won some of them. And last night, that was a big win for him. Wisconsin was a big win. He talked about it being a turning point in the campaign. He might be right. He might be right. I think that the bloom may be off the Trump rose. It may be. I think a lot of people were sort of upset or irked or horrified by what's gone on the past couple of weeks in the Trump campaign. And it maybe is not so surprising that Trump went down in defeat yesterday, but he's going to be in New York in 2 weeks. He's going to kill in New York. Trump is going to kill in New York. And you have Cruz, who I want to love Ted Cruz. I want to love him. I want to see another Princeton man in the White House. But remarks like that New York sensibility or that New York attitude or those New York values, man, that don't play in New York. That don't play in New York. I mean, that's like, you're talking about my mother here. You don't do you don't do that, and I don't think that New York is going to look very favorably upon Cruz for that remark and for a million other things. I mean, his position on so many social issues and all is just not consistent with who we are as New Yorkers. The center of the universe that we are.
So,
true.
Well, who are you as New Yorkers? I mean, would you really say that most New Yorkers think Donald Trump is a good guy? It seems like they would have the familiarity that might breed a lot of contempt for him. I mean, he's been such this gigantic shadow of a figure in New York for so many years.
He's one of us. But it is. He's one of us. He's a
really
flamboyant one of us. But he is one of us. He's a New Yorker. One of those, in your face, brash, forward, aggressive, sometimes abrasive kind of guys who get it done, who don't much care about the fluffy stuff. I think the reason why New York is going to go, well, firstly, New York hates Cruz. They just hate Cruz. But Donald Trump really is one of us. Hillary Clinton. It makes me crazy when she says, "Oh, I'm so happy to be back here in New York, my hometown." Hometown? Who are you talking to? You're not a New Yorker. You're not a hometown New Yorker. Your hometown is either in Arkansas or it's in the Midwest. It's not New York. Let me tell you that, girl. You are not a New Yorker. So don't even go there. Don't even insult me or other New Yorkers by saying, "Oh, it's so wonderful to be back here in New York, my hometown." It's not your hometown. It's not. And all New Yorkers know that.
So how far do you think that the Republicans are going to go to keep Trump from getting the nomination? I mean, I'm reading Trump's statement here, and Trump said after the loss, he basically claimed that that Cruz is nothing more than a Trojan horse being used by the party's bosses to keep Trump from getting the nomination, etc. So how do you feel about that? I mean, what do you think they're how deep are they going to sort of make this happen the way they want?
I think they're going to go very, very deep because I don't believe that the party wants Ted Cruz to be the nominee, but they really, really don't want Donald Trump to be the nominee. So I think they are looking to move this into a brokered convention so that they have some control over who the nominee is, and I think it's awful. I think it's awful. Look, I don't like any of the choices that we have. I don't like any of the choices, but the idea of taking the choice out of the hands of the votership, of the people, of citizens, is appalling to me. I think that such damage will be, and particularly in this election cycle that has been distinguished The good thing about this election cycle is it's been distinguished by increased votership to a degree we haven't seen in decades and decades. So I love that voters are really coming out in such huge numbers. I mean, that's great. People who have never voted before are voting now. And the idea that the votes are going to be nullified by bizarre convention rules that are that are designed to take the election away from the person that the voters choose could be awful. It'll make voters who have never voted before think, "Are you kidding me? What did I bother? Why did I bother? I'm not going to vote again. What is the point? If my vote doesn't count, and if they're going to just discard the will of the people, then what is the point of voting at all?" Yeah,
I love it when I love watching it. I love watching when white people get appalled at the injustice in this country. I think it's great. I just laugh because I think, wow, you're finally getting to know what it's like to be black. I've never felt like my vote counted. I've never felt that this system was fair. I've never felt that these people really want to do what's right by the people. I've never felt that way ever, not one time. I look at the system and I think that the party bosses are going to get what they want. They're not going to give the nomination to Trump. They're not going to give it to Sanders. They're too anti-establishment, and I think the people are going to get mad and throw hissy fits, and march and rally and protest. But I really don't know if even all the American people unified as one can actually shift the will of the government. We live under this assumption in America that if enough people want something to happen, it's going to happen, and I don't believe that's true anymore. I think that what happens is that, for example, your individual votes get trumped by dollar bills. I think that there are far more dollar bills in America than there are people, and so the dollar bills vote. That's what runs this government and this society, and corporations control those dollar bills. And I really don't think that that the will of the people. I think it's going to matter less and less over time.
It's awful.
I think it's ridiculous.
It's such a troubling trend. And, the Republican Party, if they undo the will of the people, I mean, they're already coming apart at the seams. If they undo the will of the people, where is there to go? Where is there to go? Republicans are not going to vote for Hillary. They're not going to vote for Bernie. And if the party installs somebody as the nominee who nobody voted for, all I could see is enormous number of citizens just saying, I'm done. I want no part of this process anymore. I'm never going to vote anymore. I've had it. And they'll be justified in walking away. And what a shame that would be. What a shame that would be.
Well, it's interesting you would say that they'd be justified in walking away, because I remember when I told you that I think it's okay for black people not to vote. You said everyone should vote. That's wrong. You should vote. You should vote. It's your responsibility.
You should vote, and you should see to it that your vote counts. You may not always get your way, but you have to register your vote. You don't register your vote, you have no platform by which to be bitching about anything. You have to register your vote. So what I'm saying is that people who have invested in this process, who've learned about the candidates, who made it their business to register to vote, to go to vote, and the party throws all of that out and just chooses who they want, in that case, I could understand why people who did that process would say, I'm not doing it anymore. I get that. Then I understand, because they followed the rules, they did what they were supposed to do, and their vote was just discarded. No. Completely different than you. Little Mr. Spoiled Sport. No. I don't like anybody, so I'm not going to vote. I mean, that's a crappy answer, boys.
That's so funny. I love what you just said a minute ago. You said, you follow the rules, you do what you're supposed to do, but yet, you're saying the injustice still occurs. Yes. And again, you sound so much like a black man right now. I'm so glad you get that experience. Now, I want to ask you about this. I want to ask you this. Let's keep talking about Trump. Now, Trump made some comments about abortion, and he was saying that abortions, I think it was a really tense back and forth between he and Chris Matthews. Sure. And the abortion topic came up, and I think Trump was saying that, I don't remember if he exactly said abortion should be illegal or not, but it was something like that. Like he wanted to, just kind of put that to the side and get rid of that stuff. And then it got to the point where they were talking about being punished for breaking the law and getting an abortion. and Trump seemed to imply that it's okay to punish a woman
Right.
for getting an abortion, and the pressure came, and then he backpedaled. He did something he
Right.
rarely does, which is
Right.
to say, to
That's
sort of
right.
say, no, I didn't really mean that. I don't know what his exact words were, but what did you think about that? The
I
fact that
watched that. I
he
watched that
backpedaled on that.
exchange. I watched that interview with Chris Matthews. I've watched it many times since. I've watched the pullback, the recalculation of that. I think that I believe that Trump does not support abortion. I believe that what he was saying, and Chris Matthews didn't handle this interview very well. He was badgering Trump in a way that if I were there, I would have told Chris Matthews, just shut up and let me answer the question. Stop that pit bull approach. I mean, he was just so relentless in going after, well, what did you think? Trump should have just said, I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals. Frankly, I don't believe in abortion at any point, and I think it should be left to the states to decide, but he shouldn't have entered into that with Chris Matthews. But Chris Matthews is like a pit bull on a pot roast. I mean, he is just, in there, and biting and biting and biting. But I think that what Trump meant to say, and ultimately said, is that, yeah, if it's illegal, if abortion is illegal, and a woman has an abortion, there have to be consequences because you've broken the law. And then he backpedaled to say, well, it's the doctor who should be punished. And I think that's probably what he meant. I don't think he really meant to say that the woman should be punished. I mean, look, any woman who has to have an abortion, that's punishment enough. It's punishment enough. It's an awful, awful thing. I mean, I don't know that you and I have talked about abortion. I don't know where you stand on it. I don't support abortion at all. I think that the unborn child has to be protected. It very much troubled me to hear Hillary say yesterday that until a child is born, they have no rights whatsoever. I think you've got to be kidding me. So if a child is born on July 1st, he has no rights whatsoever, but if he's born, he has all the rights afforded a human being, but he could be aborted on June 30th? I don't think so. I don't think so. Until a child is born, he has no rights whatsoever? I don't think that's correct. I think there's a fundamental flaw there. I think we have to be more respectful of human life. The debate really should be, when does human life begin? I don't think it begins necessarily at conception. I don't know when it begins, but it certainly is not. The thought of saying that at 24 weeks, this baby has no rights, I don't get that. I don't get that at all.
Well, a question I would ask is, when people talk about abortion, I would ask them, when did you become a human being? When did you become
Right.
what you are right now?
Right.
When you were in your mother's stomach for 2 weeks, were you a person yet, or did you not exist? When you were in there for 3 months, did you exist?
Yeah.
And I think when you look at it from that perspective, I think it does shift how we kind of see
I think it does.
the conversation. I think it's very easy to deny the humanity of someone else, but it's very difficult to deny it for yourself.
I think
Like myself, I feel like I've been in existence since my father fertilized my mother's womb. That's when I came into being. And I don't care if I was only microscopic in size. I was real, right?
Right.
Who I am now was. That process was beginning at that point.
I agree.
And I think what makes it difficult for me as a person who's not on the other extreme of the abortion debate is I just can't. I feel like there's a very difficult contradiction when on one hand I'm expected to have no sensitivity to an unborn child, but I'm expected to have extreme sensitivity to a newborn baby.
Right.
Meaning. If someone kills a baby, I'm supposed to be appalled by it. But if someone kills an unborn baby, I'm supposed to act like it's no big deal.
Right.
Well, it's got to be one or the other to me. It's like, okay, well, because I feel that look, if you're okay with killing babies in the womb, okay, that's fine. Then, well, why don't we have laws like they have in some countries where you can kill your own child if you want to? I met someone that I went to school with, and he was from some country. I forgot which country it was. And my friend goes, he said, watch this, boys. And I said, okay, yeah. And so we went up to this guy. He was the friendliest guy. I don't remember what country he was from, but he was friendly. He'd always smile. He was very nice, very gentle kind of person. And they said, so, what would you do if your daughter told you that she was going to, run away and pose nude in Playboy, and you told her not to? What would you do? And he goes, oh, I would kill her. And he smiled when he said it, and I was like, whoa. And we said, what? But you can't kill your daughter. Like, what are you talking about? He said, why not? She's my daughter. And so that was the logic. And he said it, I mean, with a smile on his face. Again, a very nice guy. But to hear that just really was really interesting.
He was nuts. All right,
no. That's the thing. That's the thing. But in his country, though, that's what they think.
Get it.
Because the logic extends. If I can abort my child in the womb, I can abort my child outside the womb. Why not? It's my baby. It's none of your business. That's my rights. Like, think about this. Think about how similar that is to the language used in abortion conversation.
Oh, yeah.
My body, my rights, my body. But, there are people who would say, look, if you're pregnant with a boy, the boy has a penis, that's not entirely your body because you don't have a penis. You know what I mean? So that maybe that isn't your body. Maybe that's someone else's body, right?
Well, maybe it is.
So I don't know.
Maybe it is.
So go ahead, please.
Well, maybe it is. The idea. I think that depending on the stage of life you're in, you see abortion differently. Many women, including myself, I didn't really understand abortion when I was in my 20s. I didn't really understand it. Many women around me I knew had abortions because they got pregnant, they didn't want a baby, so they used it almost as a means of, birth control. It didn't really mean anything. They did. When I was in college, I knew women who had multiple abortions. They were just so sloppy about birth control that this was their,
You wild, crazy Princeton white women. You're just crazy.
They were all women.
Go ahead. Continue.
In fact, they were all crazy white women. But, it wasn't until I had my first baby. When I had my baby, in September of 1988, I remember going to the nursery to see my baby boy. And there were preemies in the nursery who were 26, 28 weeks old. And they looked like little chickens. They were, and I thought, my God, this is what's being aborted? This is a baby. This is a person. This is a tiny child. How could you can't abort this. This is a living thing. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it until I saw what these babies really, and they're babies. Don't call them fetuses. Don't call them embryos. They have fingers, they have toes, they have heads, they have feet, they have a pounding heart. I suddenly came into a whole different understanding of it. Meanwhile, what I think is that abortion is something that, is regarded as it's a convenience. If the idea of having a baby is so inconvenient, the convenient thing to do would be to just, get rid of it, dispose of it. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. And I certainly support every woman's right to choose whatever means of birth control is right for her. But once you've already conceived a baby and you're pregnant, that ship has sailed. You're done. Now you have to have the baby. You don't want to keep the baby, you have to put the baby up for adoption. But the idea of, and particularly late-term abortion, have you ever seen, do you really know what that is?
I can't watch it.
You can't. And even if you read about it, it is so completely horrific. The idea of ending this it's a baby. It is a baby. It's a baby. But because it's inconvenient for the mother or the mother and father to have a child at this time, they cut the head off of or they break the neck. They snap the neck of what would be their child. So Hillary Clinton, I think, is just pandering to the ultra, liberals by saying, I will always support a woman's right to kill her baby to the very last minute. You can kill your baby.
Well, what I would say is that it is very interesting that those who have a certain opinion on abortion, that are very open about abortion, about children having no rights, or I guess embryo or babies in the womb having no rights. In fact, I think that's a better term than like embryo. Babies in the womb. That's what they are, right? It's funny that these people work very, very hard to keep people from seeing the imagery of an abortion.
Right.
Most people, I bet you anything, that more than 80% or more people who have to actually watch a baby being aborted, like literally watch a video and see what that fetus looks like, they want no parts in that. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's really one of those things where ignorance becomes bliss. If you don't see it, it's like, look, if I don't see this kid, then I don't care what happens to this kid. And it's just like in life, out of sight, out of mind. If we know someone who gets killed, then it's a tragedy, it affects us, etc. But if we hear about somebody being killed on the news, it's like, oh, well, let me change the channel and see what else is on, right?
Right.
So that's pretty much what it is.
And they've tried to position the crazy left wingers, the Hillary Clinton people, the Planned Parenthood people, have tried to position abortion as nothing more than like getting your teeth cleaned. It's just a procedure. You go in, boom, you get it done. It's over. You go about your business. You can make a lunch date the same day. It's not like getting your teeth cleaned. It's not like getting your teeth cleaned. And life is precious. Life is precious. And I recognize that having a baby sometimes is just not the convenient thing to do. But for Hillary Clinton to say, until the baby is born, the baby has no rights whatsoever, I think is heartless. I think it's wrong. I think it's inhumane. It's awful. I don't like Hillary Clinton. I don't like her not one bit. Not one bit.
Well, I'll tell you, I was a pretty huge inconvenience too. My mother was 17 when she gave birth to me, and she's admitted to me. She said if there had been an abortion clinic down the street giving away free abortions, I'd have been right down there in a second, because she was scared to death. She got pregnant at the age of 16. And she didn't know how she was going to take care of me, and she said she figured it out. And she says, when I think about all the years that we've had together and all the great things that have happened, she says, I realized what I had at that time was something precious.
Exactly.
But, sometimes when you're going through it, you see it as an inconvenience or something scary.
It is an inconvenience. There's no doubt about it. And anyone who thinks that having a baby isn't inconvenient is nuts. Of course it's a huge inconvenience. And it's an inconvenience for a long, 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 long time. You talk about this man who said he could take his daughter, he could just kill his daughter because it's his property. How many times did your mother say to you, because I've certainly said it to my baby boy, I brought you into this world, I could take you out of this world.
Yep, absolutely.
Sons, of course, they tower over me and, could sort of take me out in an instant any day they want. But yeah, I've said it to them many times. Brought you into this world, I could take you out of this world, baby. I could take you out.
Well, I'll tell you, I think that my official position on the abortion thing would be this. Look, I don't feel comfortable feeling that I would have a right to infringe on anybody's right to choose, right? But a couple of things that bother me about the whole conversation is that, number one, the seriousness of an abortion is not considered. I mean, they again, talking about it like getting a tooth pulled or something. No. You're killing a baby. Let's just make sure we understand this. You're not just doing some simple procedure, having some cells scraped.
Exactly
no.
Right.
You're killing a person. I mean, if you're okay with that, then do it. Just know what you're doing, because a lot of people get these abortions and later on they have huge regrets. Maybe later when they can have kids, or later, or. I knew a woman that had some kids after, she had a couple abortions when she was younger, and she says, when I see my kids now, I realize what I killed. What I didn't give a chance to live. And so I think you can't throw away the seriousness of the conversation, and I think that's what extremist politics does. It simplifies things that are far more complicated than they appear to be. I think number two, stop telling me that a father does not have a right to have some say in whether or not his child is going to be killed. If you're going to abort my baby, you better invite me to the conversation, because I'll be damned. You know what? I would kill for my kids if they were alive, and I'd damn near kill for my kids if they're still in the womb. Not to say I'd want to kill anybody, but seriously, I would be irate if you were going to abort my baby and not even let me have a say in the conversation. Because guess what? If you decide to have that, I have to finish this. If you decide, sorry. Yeah, if you decide to have that baby, you're going to expect me to pay child support.
Yes, I will.
So if you're expecting my money for having this child, then you better bring my opinion to the table when you decide whether or not you're going to have this baby.
Well,
So again, I wouldn't condone, say, the violence. And I know I was joking about or not joking, but mentioned the thing about killing for my kids. But it's true. I mean, when my daughter's mother was pregnant with her. I knew what my daughter. I knew what my mother. I'm losing my words here. I knew what my daughter's mother was having. I knew what was inside of her. It was me. It was a piece of me.
That's right.
So this idea that that somehow men's rights are null and void, that we should have no say in anything until it's time for us to cough up the money. That's some selfish shit. Excuse my French. That's incredibly selfish. It's like, well, if I decide that the baby doesn't inconvenience me, then I'm going to chop it up and have it sucked out of my body. Right. But if I do decide I want to be a mom, then you're going to have to go along with the program and send me money. Well, that's no less oppressive than what men have done to women for the longest time, where they've treated women like they're our property. Right. So I didn't support it then, and I don't support it when it's on the other side of the fence. Please continue.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Although I don't know what what is the happy medium. If you and I are if I'm expecting a child and it's your child, I don't want to keep it. What are you going to? You want to keep it? I don't want to keep it. I'm the one that bears the 9 months of internal growth and weight gain and misery, and I'm going to have to endure the pain of child. I don't want to. I don't want to. How are you going to impose that on me?
Well, you know what? I might not impose it. I couldn't impose it, but I would like to at least have a discussion. I would like to at least be a part of the conversation.
Well, we can.
I don't. If I decided that I want my baby to live, I think I should be allowed to have some say. I could maybe say something like, "Look, when the baby's born, just give the baby to me. I'll raise the child." Women do it all the time. Women take the baby and don't even let the man participate in raising the child.
No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. But because of the fundamental disparity in not so much conception, but in gestation, when a child is conceived, it's the woman who will spend 9 months growing the baby. For all the man had a 20-second sperm contribution. That's it. Your 20-second sperm contribution doesn't even begin to compare to the 9 months that the woman is going to be experiencing, whatever.
And I think that's true. And what's funny is, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the argument that some men have made when it comes to money. You have a Kobe Bryant who's spent thousands of hours on the basketball court earning hundreds of millions of dollars, and he would say, look, my wife can't even dribble a basketball. She didn't spend 1 second on the basketball court. All she did was come to my games and look pretty on the sidelines and then take care of the kids, while I was playing basketball, which she deserves compensation for that, maybe a babysitting fee or something like that, right? Like, really, I've heard guys say that. Seriously, I've heard guys make that argument.
Fee? Oh, my God.
Or whatever. A premium fee for taking care of the kids, and that's it. So, if I'm worth $500 million because I've been in the NBA and I played my butt off, what makes you think you deserve half of that just because you were next to me while I was playing basketball and taking care of the kids? Maybe I should give you $500,000, right? That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Most people will be happy with that, right? But you would hear, again, the very same extreme feminists, and I'm not talking about all feminists, I'm talking about extreme feminists, I'm not talking about normal feminists or womanists. I'm talking about extreme feminists that will say what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. And that's why, and if people want to know, that's why men run away from women with that mindset. That's it. As you mentioned, you said it countless times yourself. What was it? The war on women is over and women won. That's how men feel. It's like, where are our rights? Like, do we have any rights in any of this? And if you listen, like my goddaughter went to Barnard, and I remember hearing the president make this speech about they're taking away a woman's right to choose in Texas, and this, and I'm like, this is a commencement address. Like, this is not some sort of extreme feminist pep rally, And so right. Unfortunately, the lack of the balance has been killed. There is no balance in this
right.
discussion anymore.
Right.
And it's gotten to the point of being just stupid. It really is a war. It's like, I'm going to take everything away from you, all the way down to your soul. I'm going to take your wallet. I'm going to take your masculinity. I'm going to take the very soul in your body.
I'm going to take your pride. I'm going to take your dignity. I'm going to take your financial security. It's awful. The war on women is completely over, and women have won. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And these feminists that you're talking about who hate me with they hate me so. They hate me with such intensity.
Yes, they do.
Well, it's all right. We don't have to agree. But I think, women have a pretty good deal. I think women have a very good deal across the board. I don't wish to be a man. I'm so happy being a woman. I love the advantages that come to me as a woman. I think I'm, especially blessed to be a woman. Men, I think, are in a very difficult position right now, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. I completely understand what you're saying. Although it's a little difficult for me to take it so seriously because the painting that you're sitting in front of makes you look like you're wearing a white feathered hat, the sort that your grandmother would wear. It's hilarious.
That's funny.
It looks like
white. I'll turn this screen up. I'm in California. This is not my house. This is an Airbnb location. In fact, I love it though because this allows us to do our conversations because I have good Wi-Fi here.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah. If I were staying in a hotel, we might not even be able to talk because the Wi-Fi in hotels is so bad. But I've realized that if you stay in someone's house, they get the regular Wi-Fi. I don't know who decided that hotels were going to get the crappy Wi-Fi. They should really change that. But anyway, I enjoyed talking to you today as usual. This was awesome.
I have a few shout-outs.
Please go ahead.
Shamita Nicole, Kenny Wells, Kenny Vaughn, Leonard Sampson, Bold World, MacArthur Clutch, Let's Get Into, Willa Barnes, Willie Jones, Disco Dade, Mr. Glass, Terrell Nichols, Trajan Hercules, Jamal Day Nightlong, Roy Hunt, and my very favorite, Mr. Seaforce. I love Mr. Seaforce. He calls me P Mama. I love that nickname. P Mama instead of Princess. P Mama. Love you, babe. Love you, Mr. Seaforce.
All right, P Mama. All right, and thank you, Mr. Seaforce. This is good. I like the diversity of perspective. I think that it's good that people get, and I know everybody watching. Some of you may give me pushback for having these conversations, but I don't care. You're never going to learn anything by always talking to people who agree with you.
And that's why you need to keep talking to me so I can correct your misbegotten notions about just about everything, boys. But it's okay.
I can remind you that you're a crazy white woman, so that's fun too.
Come on, on Earth. Come on, you know that.
Well, I love you regardless. So thank you very much, Susan. It was wonderful as always.
Always a pleasure talking with you. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk next week.
All right, and everybody watching, thank you for watching. This is Black, White, and Politically Incorrect. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is Susan Patton, a.k.a. the Princeton Mom. She's the author of the book Marry Smart, so make sure you go check that out. Also, don't forget, I'm on tour right now. You can go to thedrboycewatkinstour.com to see what cities we're in. Right now, we're in L.A. We're going to be in Kansas City next, and then Baltimore, and then Philadelphia, and then New Orleans, and then Houston, and then New York City. So go to thedrboycewatkinstour.com so you can meet me in person. I look forward to seeing you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.